Luca, ciao, ¿cómo stai?
Ciao, man. All good. Long time no
It's been a
speak.
while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So look, I was really excited to connect with you again. Our first episode, if you remember, it was published. I was looking at it this morning, January 13th, 2020. So we
Wow.
must have recorded it in December around this time. So it's almost been exactly 6 years since we spoke on the podcast last. And it feels like the last 6 years of changes have been the equivalent of a lifetime. Like if you think about it, shortly after your first episode here, the world shut down because of COVID. That lasted a few years. That literally changed the world and people's behavior in a major way. Um, in late 2022, ChatGPT launched, and this AI era began, and that was the beginning of, arguably, in my opinion, one of the biggest transformational, if not the biggest, changes in human history. So again, only 6 years, but definitely feels like a lifetime ago. A lot to catch up on with yourself, customerly, what you've been up to. But if you don't mind, Luca, just for those who might not know you, just take a minute to introduce yourself, if you don't mind.
Sure thing. Thank you so much for having me, Costa. It's such a pleasure to be here again. I didn't realize it was like already 6 years and COVID passed and of course GPT and everything. So I'm the CEO of Customerly, and it's a bootstrap SaaS helping B2B SaaS companies to improve their customer service operations, and now more than ever has been a major help for mid-size and enterprise businesses. I'm going to tell you how we changed our business model from like 2020 to now, because AI, of course, changed everything from the product, but also our go-to-market and our positioning. So we can help B2B SaaS for sure to improve and automate customer service tickets and way much more. So happy to dive deep into it.
Yeah. No, let's definitely get into that. So a couple of things before, though. In our first podcast, again, almost pretty much 6 years ago, you shared that Customerly was at 100K ARR. So you guys are
Yep.
still very early. Do you still share revenue numbers? Like, where are you guys at today?
So this year we should, if a couple of contract close, we're very close to it 1 million mark,
Nice.
and it's actually is way much less the ARR revenue, but way much more the AI conversation revenue.
Okay.
So our business model switched completely from just a seat subscription to a seat subscription plus the AI conversation.
Right.
So our North Star metric for the revenue from now on is going to be way much more the number of conversation we managed, because that's direct revenue from us.
Mhm.
So it's way much more, like right now it's like 60% AI revenue and 40% licenses.
Okay.
And if you think about it, in our business, it's going to be way much more per unit revenue in terms of conversation rather than seats,
Mhm.
because seats are going to decrease while conversation will increase.
Right.
Okay. So it's challenging. It has
Yeah.
changed the
Okay.
business.
So that's great. So you're at, but you're including the revenue with both the seats and the AI like credits, right? So
Correct.
you're
Yes.
hopefully gonna pass a million in ARR this year. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct. It's recurring revenue,
Yeah.
because actually it's increasing, because if the companies we're supporting are increasing their
Yeah.
business, their figures, basically that's increasing also the number of conversation we are
Yeah.
selling to them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Amazing. Okay, that's great. So I mentioned AI has been the biggest transformational change in human history. We're chatting offline. You said something interesting, which you just alluded to it about how AI has completely disrupted your strategy, and you don't even think like customerly. is like a SaaS business anymore in some ways. So can you expand on that? Expand on like what happened, how did you pivot and all that?
For sure. As you might know, we always hated chatbots.
Yeah.
We have this tagline, chatbots are shit, because we never invested into that kind of automation, because in our like in our experiences, we always had bad experiences with traditional chatbots. They were pushing away people, and we didn't want to get into that kind of automation. So thankfully, we never invested into the shitty chatbot experience, okay? So never invested into creating the tools to let our customers to automate early years before GPT, any chat conversation. So we decided to went like plain human-to-human support. When GPT came out, we basically started to think this through. Now we can improve that experience without cluttering it with a lot of buttons and a lot of shitty experiences. So we created this layer of AI on top of what we already had, and we focused strongly, heavily on the quality of the responses. And we always wanted to escalate automatically to the human being if the information wasn't there, if the customer was requesting for a human being, all the kind of things that we hated as consumers, we wanted to implement it into this model. So we're using GPT, of course, but there are several prompts for every single message, and we decided to implement the best possible solution out there for our customers. And so numbers speaks from themselves. We are managing thousands of conversations a day with an error rate that is less than 1%. Wow. So we wanted to build out one of the best implementation of AI out there. And our customers that have been using several of our competitors, plus customerly AI, they're saying to us that it's actually easier to implement and is responding way much better. So when we had this realization, we said, okay, we need to change our ICP, because the customers that are getting the value out of this are the mid-size enterprise companies that are managing thousands of conversations a day. Because if you go to like smaller businesses, and we were serving mainly small businesses, they don't feel the value. They don't feel the benefits of having an AI model replying to 10 messages a day, okay? When you start automating hundreds, if not thousands conversations a day, that is something that you feel as ROI on your processes and operations. And so we started, we always been product-led. We always focus on creating a product-led experience, word of mouth, targeting channels for small businesses. And now all of a sudden, we needed a switch. We needed to go sales-led. And to me, it's like a completely different ballpark. We never had, I didn't know what was a PO number. All that kind of stuff that now is there. We needed to switch. We needed to hire a VP of sales to understand how to structure a sales process.
Okay, so yeah, there's a couple of things then to jump in there. First of all, I thought you'd be wearing your shirt. Chatbots are shit. What does it say?
Yeah, I should have. Yeah, it's kind of cold.
Awesome. Okay, so you mentioned error rate less than 1%. I noticed on some of your marketing it was 2%. So has that improved recently?
Yes, improved. Yes, we are actually deployed another several updates, which basically now is more skilled into finding the best resource to gather information from. And so we decrease the percentage of hallucination out there.
Yeah. Which model are you using? Is it OpenAI?
OpenAI, yes, different models for different task. So whenever a message comes through, we have several, like 4 or 5 prompts that goes and search for, like, one of the key differentiation is not that, like, is that we're not just a RAG system based on FAQs or documents, your knowledge base, but we also have this layer of intent that you can prompt as you want. For example, if you want to treat in a different way a refund process or an upgrade process, you can prompt the AI to manage it in a very skilled and logic way. So we're deploying this grounded AI concept where you can define for which intent you can prompt the AI to behave the way you want to behave. And on top of that, of course, you can connect it with your external CRM systems or database to process the refund. So you can automate not only just the FAQs, but also like second layer tickets from start to end. Very complex scenarios, actually.
Okay, that's amazing. And is 1% error rate, is that like industry norm? Like, is there any data on like what is good? Is that considered like better than industry
It
standard, or?
Well, there are two metrics that most of the time are shared from the industry, and is the closure rate. So how many conversations are closed automatically? Currently, all our customer base is 71%. So no matter the training materials, no matter their industry, the average customer is 71%, which I believe is a really, really good number. And as I said, you can have the best model out there, but if you don't train it in a good way, it's going to be shitty. Like, it's going to hallucinate or it's going to escalate a lot. Most of escalation or errors we see is actually human error, not training the right way. So we are trying to deploy also tools to let our customers improve their models on autopilot. So saying, okay, this should not be here because it's creating hallucination or something like that, you know. I created also a masterclass because right now there is another issue I found in the market, which is the customer service managers. Most of the time, they don't know how this technology works, okay? So there was a gap of knowledge on how they should be training this model, or they should change their operations to train models, right? Moving forward. And they're pressured by the C-level to adopt as fast as they can the AI in the support in their industry and automate as much as possible. So that's a challenge I saw in the market, and I said, okay, let's create a masterclass with all the things that we learned by building this software. So that's another thing that we decided to do to improve the experience, okay, of the end user.
Okay, so like customerly was hit head on with AI, right? Like the first department that most companies try to kind of use AI and disrupt with is customer support. And customerly is a company that provides directly customer support related tools. So, and it seems that you guys acted and pivoted pretty fast. Was that due to just client demand, or did you see the writing on the wall and were proactive?
We definitely saw the opportunity. We saw the quality of the models, and we decided to jump on the train as fast as we can. And thankfully, we didn't have any previous in-house model or automation layer, because we can build on top of plain conversation, and release the model as fast as we can to all our customers without being stopped or, without having any issue to destroy whatever we created before. We could have just mounted this AI layer on top. So we were really fast. I would say in a couple of months, we went from zero to understanding what was the best way to train an AI. We actually released on the very first model, the intent classificators, and the mission. So basically an agentic AI that was already doing some intent classification and structuring a flow in a completely different way. It wasn't just FAQs. It was just already advanced at the time.
Okay, so no, that's great. You mentioned 71% closure rate average for customerly clients, which look to me, if I can automate and close 71% of tickets, no matter how big, like how many tickets I get, whether it's 10, 20, 50, 100 per day, to me, that's very valuable, um, for sure. But so there's probably a lot of companies, including myself, who are thinking about how to leverage AI to handle customer support. And correct me if I'm wrong, and you kind of alluded to this, but I feel like a good AI tool is only going to be as good as like the internal data that it's learning from. So a couple of questions then. So before considering a tool to use, what are some things internally that companies like myself or anyone listening that should be that should be considering to tighten up first, like your knowledge base, your FAQs, or like, so that's one part of my question. And you said the average is 71. So what are the companies doing that are above 71 versus like the lowest percentage? Like, where's that difference coming from?
Really, really good questions, actually. So in my experience, the way you can choose a really good tool to understand if you can actually deliver on the promise, it's not that easy. But first of all, you should understand how easy it is to set up the way the model behave with very tricky questions. If we are talking about only customer service inquiries, and how it could handle like processes rather than just an FAQ. So that's one thing, and it's not that easy to understand from the outside. Okay, you won't discover that until you get your hands
Yeah.
dirty, with some trials and understand how the model behave. So that's one thing. Another thing that we've been struggling, like people believe that you can throw everything at a model and expect great results. So we've been having customers asking us, okay, can I upload the transcript of all our webinars and expect a really good results? That's not the answer. Like, can you imagine the kind of clutter there is into a webinar transcript talking about whatever? So that's not a good idea. It's better if you polish up the knowledge base articles or the FAQs and structure them in a good way rather than having like hallucination later on. Okay, so I'll give you another example. Another customer of ours was having a banner for every single article with a link to their own page, because some of the articles were indexed on Google, and that was a sales banner. Basically, that was creating hallucinations. To like during some conversation, we saw that was the cause for hallucination, or some canned responses used for training were stating some piece of info like we're working on this bug already. And so that was an hallucination, a very bad hallucination. If you think about it, a conversation with a bug is coming through your AI, and AI thinks, because it's generative AI, thinks that based on that FAQ, you're already working on that. Your team is already working on that. So that ticket could be completely closed, and you didn't know about it. It wasn't escalating to your human team, and that was creating other issues. So people have this misalignment of expectations versus the actual quality of the output of the AI. Probably because the bias that GPT, like the consumer GPT, is creating on us. You expect that this thing is aware and trained on everything, and whatever you throw at it is going to perform to your customer facing experiences. But it's not like that. So the way we build it is it's not going to gather information from the general knowledge, because if the topic should be tailored to your business, you don't want the AI to gather information from external sources. So that's why we build it in a very strict way. On the other hand, you need to properly
Yeah.
train it, for a very specific
So is it
reason.
safe to say like the core knowledge is through the knowledge base, the FAQs?
I would say yes. And we built it in a way that if the model has a low confidence score, it's going to escalate no
Yeah.
matter what.
Okay.
So if she doesn't have the knowledge or a very low confidence of what she found in the knowledge, she's going to escalate. So in that way, you can close the loop, because you will see the topics that are generating more escalation for either missing information or low confidence issue. These two are a clear signal that you need to increase
Yeah.
the like you should add more knowledge base. But there are some topics that needs to be managed in a different way with an intent. For example, the refund. You wouldn't just share the FAQ with the customer. Maybe you want to recover it. So there are customers that are coming through that can automate 80% of their support tickets in 2 weeks, because
Yeah.
their knowledge base is already
Yeah.
really, really good. And there are customers like, okay, I want to throw everything at this and expect 80% as well.
Yeah.
It's not like that. You can get 50, 40, 50, but then to close that gap, you need to
Over
iterate on
time.
the
Yeah.
knowledge base.
Do you have any I'm curious if you have data on that. Let's say someone comes in with like, a mediocre FAQ section, and then over time with the help of the AI and like knowing like which topics or conversations have to be escalated, and then you improve the FAQ section. Like I'd imagine over like a few months that closure rate would significantly increase. Would go from like 40-50% to, that 70-80, if you're constantly refining it.
It depends a lot on the volume that you're getting and the spread of the topics.
Yeah.
Okay. And of course, the quality of the knowledge base. So we got like this customer that had a really good knowledge base, 80% after 2 weeks. And then they started to implement intents. Okay. Another customers with larger volumes and a larger topic volume, they started with 45-ish, and after 3 months of iterating on knowledge base and intents, they've got a lot of intents, a lot of dedicated intents to manage, and so that increased the quality of the responses. And some teams actually needs a mixed approach, AI first, and then escalating to the human to
Yeah.
create different kind of task. So it really depends. It really depends on the situation. If it's just informational, the kind of request that you're getting, probably you're gonna get 60+% in no time, 2 weeks
Yeah.
time. But if you need a lot of back and forth, a lot of check in your database the information, or like order information, some of them can be easily resolved with AI intense blood mission and gets you to 70-80% fast. But yeah, it's a matter of understanding the
Yeah.
business. Every single time we need to analyze what's the business look like and what kind of customer inquiries
Yeah.
they've got.
Is it able to learn from like an inbox? Like let's say you have a support like inbox where like all your support is you're doing it manually. Can the AI like learn from past like how you answer?
I'll, so there are different approaches from our competitors, and we have a strong point on this. And I want to ask
Yeah.
you a question. Would you like the AI model to be trained on very specific quotes or offers that you send to one particular customer, and using that very specific piece of info with all the customers or prospects out there?
Um, I don't know. I could see I could see both sides to that. To be honest, I'm looking at it just again from my personal situation. I would say if I had the option, I would say like yeah, I'd be okay with the AI learning from my specific like support inbox because like the way we do support, we try to like structure it in a way where it's it could be relevant for every customer, and we try and we're very deliberate on just making support efficient and turnkey. Like I'm not trying to do like very isolated support inquiry. Like, yeah, there are nuances and like certain customers, but um, generally, if it's an answer for one person, it's the same answer for someone else.
Okay, that's good. Like the way we wanted to build it is like to avoid this, because when you train it with the the old database of incoming queries, it can hallucinate a lot. Like there is a lot of work to understand what the source of
Yeah.
truth is, right? Without even considering that within the inboxes, you can get a lot of
Yeah.
spams, which the model will not probably know about it. Like you can prompt it to clean it up. But again, mm, I don't feel okay having a model trained on whatever it is on the inboxes. Also because like some cases are very
Yeah.
specific, and sometimes the bugs are resolved already from, I don't know, 6 years
Yeah.
ago, and I wouldn't train the model that is responding now to with an updated content that was created 6 years
Yeah.
ago. I don't know. I've got
Yeah.
mixed
It makes
feelings.
sense.
Honestly, it's more a no because those reasons rather than a yes yet. I can feel the benefit of, again, throwing everything that I was working on that can be considered good as, optimizing the training. But at the same time, we still need to consider that this is generative AI, and she doesn't know how to still think through whatever happened, I don't know, 6 months ago rather than now. Product changes fast
Yeah.
nowadays, so that's another thing
Will,
to
ever,
take
will it
into.
ever get to the point though where it's like you had a support inquiry like 2 years ago about a bug or whatever, but like it learned from like a newer message or like an updated FAQ that like okay that email from 2 years ago has been updated. Like is it there yet?
Hmm.
I'd imagine it will be like if it's not already like soon. No.
It could be. It could be. There would be certain ways to train it with several, like past several issues that you might be having, and yeah, it's interesting. Again, I don't feel that
Yeah.
confident to do it on autopilot because, imagine like you're not checking your inboxes anymore. You got in our case, you're gonna get the Aura inbox, dedicated inbox. It's like a teammate of yours, so you're not gonna get escalation if she could handle it. Um, and sometimes, like you check, of course, the CSAT, the conversation quality, the sentiment analysis, and everything. But if you want to put it onto autopilot, you will never know.
Yeah, makes sense. Um, for a typical company, then, like, how fast is it to kind of implement um, your AI, like, into their business?
Um, so we can import everything in no time. Like from certain providers, we can import also conversations, Ad Center. customer data, everything. But generally speaking, we run demos with actual data of the customer, no matter where is their knowledge base. No time, like 10 minutes, we can train it all. And if we need to like run specific scenarios, like intent plus mission for refunds or upgrade or whatever, the general setup window is like 2 weeks for like very structured processes to go live with all the things. But we are talking about like mid-size enterprise deals, where you got several different departments working all together into this project. So like a small business can actually go live in 1 hour.
Yeah. Okay. And how much like upkeep is like recommended with like the updating the intents and the like all that stuff internally just to continue refining it? Is that like do you have recommendations for that, or is it just depend on the business itself?
Again, it depends on the business. First of all, you track the metrics, the closure rates, CSAT, and you can spot like any issues coming through the support, which like we track, and our customers also track escalation rates, type of escalations, and topics escalations, and of course CSAT for Aura. Generally speaking, CSAT of Aura is higher than human teams. Yeah, like 20% higher. And I was like, what's happening? Why? And I've been talking with teams, and they say that most of the time is because the speed of the answer. So they were used to have the first answer in like 45 minutes. Right now it's 7 seconds. And it's accurate.
Amazing.
So you're getting support in less than 1 minute. And before you had to wait 45 minutes just for the first reply. So CSAT is another really important thing to see and to iterate on. If you see that Aura is maybe treating a certain topic in a not good way, you should iterate either on knowledge base on intent. Intent don't change that much. Mission can be fine-tuned. So the way you tell the AI how to behave, that for sure something you should improve. But if it's working, it's working. Like if that process is working already, maybe there are some nuances you have to fix. But rather than that, it's like there are some teams managing just their goal is actually to improve the automation rate, and to do so, they need to like understand what's the next band of conversation that you need to automate, either with a knowledge base article or an intent plus mission. So you check whatever is already automated, the quality, and you check and improve and iterate with a feedback loop on whatever is remaining, right?
Yeah, makes sense. What are some of the biggest frustrations or complaints that you hear from your clients related to the AI?
Our clients or our clients?
Like your clients. Any like complaints, like?
Honestly, now I'm thinking like very few.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Very few. Like there are some times that hallucinate, of course. Most of the time is because it can be like a human error, or sometimes like the signature can lead into like a weird stuff. But like lately, 2-3 weeks ago, one of our best customer called me and say, look, we're getting an outage and we're submerged by tickets. Aura has currently 10,000 tickets open, which is something unusual for them because like Aura is just closing them. And And she said, can Aura handle it? And I said, yeah, why not? Like, why the question? I don't know, like, this is going to be a lifesaver for us. And after the outage ended, she said, thankfully, Aura exists, because otherwise, like, they should like manage more than 10,000 tickets in a very short period of time. So spikes are not an issue anymore, and the team can actually focus on fixing the issue rather than panicking and managing all those conversations. So honestly, like, I don't get any complaints about how our AI is
That's
working.
great. I really like the. I think the key is the aura being able to judge when to like escalate it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that having that understanding of, you know, when a human should step in rather than trying to, you know, solve it on its own. How do you judge that? Like, you know, do you have any specific criteria that you guys use for that?
So as I said, we didn't want to create the shitty chatbot experiences. So we prompted within the system that if the customer is asking for a human, it's going to escalate. We check sentiment analysis on the whole thread to understand if the customer is pissed off. If that's happening, we escalating. And there's other triggers. Another one is low confidence. So we have a very high confidence score. Our customers can change the threshold. So it's like 90, 95%. So if it's not that high, it's going to escalate as a low confidence issue, no matter what. And the last one is like missed information. So there is no information about this, I'm going to
Okay.
escalate. So those are the four general escalation types that you're gonna get. And there is no way you can fix your customers into loops. Like there is no way to not to not escalate to a human
Yeah.
team. So at a certain point, the ticket will
Yeah.
escalate.
Makes sense. I like that. Um, let's switch gears a little bit to, you know, sales and marketing. So you mentioned that, you know, you're let's say like a few years ago you were catering to smaller companies, and now you're more like medium, mid-size, like enterprise. Is that correct? Okay.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
um, has your ARPU, like revenue, average revenue per user, has increased significantly, I'd imagine?
a lot, by a
Yeah.
lot. Yes.
Okay.
So like everything started actually 3 years ago when we went to SaaSter in Silicon Valley. I heard this speech from Docebo, what is the CEO at Docebo now, and it's something that hit me hard because they actually had the very same path that we had. Like they were struggling to sell to small businesses. They were churning fast, and they felt their customers couldn't get their value, the value they were sharing. On the other hand, mid-size and enterprises were getting value, were paying way much more and churning less. I was like, fuck, yeah, this is something that is the same thing that is happening customerly. And so I had the pleasure to have a private mentorship with him. And he said, look, it's going to be a long journey, but it can be done. And so, like, I felt it. It was already a long journey. And we started, you know, restructuring all processes to close the sign up rates and get into sales led
Hmm.
processes, which is like a bloodbath, honestly. Like you see your free trials going down because you're now like filtering at the door the signups. You're saying, no, no, we don't
Yeah.
want to. And like this
Yeah.
is scary, you know, you're kind of cutting revenue, but at the same time you're focusing on better revenue, okay, better qualified prospects. And so also the demos we're getting are like lesser ACV, like we're sending quotes for 200K. Before we were talking about 2K a year, and we were getting complaints about that, and now it's like, okay, we want to expand, we want to work more with you because this is actually helping us a lot. So it's tough because passing from a product-led experience and team, like all the team is focused on that, and now it's like sales-led.
Okay, so
Completely
okay,
different
that's what I
stuff.
want to get into then. So, what's your team size now? Like, how many team members at Custom? 10
10
people. So
people.
still small,
10 people. Yeah.
which is great. Now, so where does what's the biggest marketing channel now for you guys?
LinkedIn ads
Ads, yeah,
for sure, and outbound.
and
Yeah.
outbound. So outbound is something new
Yeah.
that you guys started doing recently, or
We started 1.5 years ago. We decided to hire an agency, 3 people, SDR, BDR, and the product manager, basically, overseeing everything. It was a complete failure. Complete. Like 6 months, zero results. Like a bit of replies, but zero results. So I understood that if you want to run like a proper sales process, you need to develop it internally, and then if you want to like
yeah,
outsourcing it, that was a big mistake. But we learned that we needed to create the whole process inside. So then we hired a fractional VP of sales from LinkedIn, and he helped us a lot to structure the outbound sequences, like the clay automations and Lemlist all together to like get to the actual prospect, and then structure the deal. Because I was running demos for like very small businesses, and when you switch from small businesses to like 1,000 employees company size or Nasdaq listed companies are like completely
yeah,
different ballpark. So I needed that kind of help because I had never been inside that kind
yeah.
of industry and company sides. So that was a huge challenge. And next year we want to hire 2 people for like sales, and like one SDR and one AE, and to run the whole process and start scaling up a bit more onto this.
Do you still have the fractional VP of sales? Are they,
Not for now, because everything is set up the proper way for that kind of process. But it's like a discussion that whenever we need him for like different kind of challenges, is there, and we
yeah,
can work with him.
yeah. On the paid side, where's that coming from? Is it Google or like Meta, or on
On the
the
paid
you,
side,
you
what do you
said
mean?
you're doing paid ads and outbound?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, LinkedIn
LinkedIn.
ads is the one that is
Oh yeah.
performing the best, and a bit of Google ads. But honestly, LinkedIn ads is working because we enrich the data with Clay.
Okay.
Like their targeting is amazing. We can pinpoint the companies and the ICP, but we discovered that by polishing up the data with Clay, we managed to get better
Mm.
results. One of the best ADV out there we put out is the masterclass, which is generating lead at a very low price, because uh, it's a knowledge gap that customer service manager have. So that's a really good lead magnet that is working out for
Okay.
us.
What's a better performing marketing channel at this point? Is it ads or is it the outbound?
I would say definitely
Yeah.
ads. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Like, are we talking like 70-30, 80-20, or what's the spread?
Honestly, man, it's like I feel It's not the right answer because it's a mix of them.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of people seeing the ads, then getting an outbound email, and then getting the outreach on LinkedIn. It's a mix of different steps and also different people we are targeting at the same time with different messages, you know? So it's a mix. With this kind of contract and go-to-market strategy, it's like it's impossible to say where, like to attribute to one very specific channel. It's a mix
Yeah.
of them.
So have you noticed then the amount of like just product led turnkey people signing up without speaking to anyone or doing demos? Has the percentage of companies signing up like that decreased a lot? Yeah.
Yeah,
So now,
100%. Also because our efforts are not there anymore, you know? So last year we've been focusing a lot into content, blog content, to target those people, target those small companies. And we stopped doing that because we could see the quality of the leads coming through the kind of process. And we say, okay, we need to focus on a different ICP. So as I say, like trials going down, but the quality of the conversation that we're getting right now during demos are like
yeah.
10x. Like I need to get probably 200 conversion from signups to get one single contract I'm discussing right now. Don't get me wrong, like closing one of these contracts is like 6 months
Yeah.
plus in the
Yeah.
making. So it's not that easy
Yeah.
either. But I feel like it's a completely different
Yeah.
ballpark,
Totally.
you know?
For sure. Are you still doing most of the demos yourself? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. And so there's no, are there, you have one other salesperson now or you're looking to hire?
Yeah, it's the person that is helping me to do both.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then in the new
following
year, you're
the
looking to
deal.
hire SDRs and AEs.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
good. How has sales, is sales like a new skill for you? Is this something like new territory?
I would say that enterprise sales is a new skill for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like understanding the complexity of a deal. It's has been a hell of a ride to learn all this stuff in such a
Yeah.
fast way,
Yeah.
you know. I'm a product person. I
Yeah.
love to
That's why I
optimize the
asked. Yeah.
product as a salesperson, you know. But yeah, no, I love the all sales. Like it hits differently. Closing a 200K deal with just one company is like completely different
Yeah,
ballpark, you know.
absolutely. I say this all the time. I wonder if you agree. Is I think personally, sales is the most important skill set for any founder or entrepreneur, point blank,
Yeah, that's true.
especially a bootstrap,
That's oh
because
yeah,
it's basically the only
100%.
source of funding that we have as bootstrappers is sales from clients. If you can't sell, your business
Yeah.
dies.
Yeah, exactly. Our customers are our
Exactly.
investors, so you need to
Yeah.
do that, honestly. Um, and I was an introvert, you know, as a
Yeah.
programmer, I was an introvert, you know, I didn't like to be exposed to, so I needed to learn a lot, and courses, books, whatever, to understand how to close a
Yeah.
deal of that size. Yeah.
What are some of the biggest takeaways or lessons on the sales front that you've learned in the past year or so, especially now selling to more enterprise? Any like little skills, tips,
Hmm.
tricks? I know it's ever changing and evolving. You're always learning, but is there anything that kind of sticks out?
So recently, I've been exploring the Challenger sale.
Okay.
I don't know
No,
if you
tell
have
me about
heard
that.
about it. It's very cool, actually. It's the way it's a book that I was reading, and when I started doing some challenge to our prospects, and implying how they should be improving their customer service, that started to change the discussion later on. And I saw a lot more, okay, I'm listening. I'm listening more than just pitching the software and saying this is the demo, this is the product. So I'm also challenging the prospect to think in a different way, because the way they're doing currently is not the right way, and you're here because you know that it's not the right way, and I will help you to change that way.
Mm-hmm.
But change is not always easy,
Yeah.
and so you need to challenge the person
Makes
you're
sense.
speaking
Yeah.
to get into that kind of solution. But I was not doing that. I mean, not like most of the time. No, I was not doing that. But now that I know the process, is actually really cool. So
Mm-hmm.
I need to explore and dig deeper into it. But it's
Yeah.
something that I definitely love.
Is this the just looking it up? Is it? It's a book
Yep.
called The Challenger Sale:
Yep. Correct.
Taking Control of a Customer Conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
It's
I've
one
never
of
heard
the
of that
most
one.
effective kind of salesman is the challenger sale, the one that
Mm-hmm.
actually challenge prospects. Um, like it was unusual for me too, and it actually works. So that
Yeah.
probably is one of the best learnings in the last year.
That's one of the things I love about sales personally is that, like, to me, the best sales people are the ones who understand psychology and human behavior. um, but the beautiful thing about sales is that it's not like black and white, right? You can have there's like an infinite number of ways you could do sales with, like, based on your personality. Someone might be an extrovert, an introvert, challenger sale method versus another method. And you can have like two different people doing two completely different methods but still be as equally as successful.
True.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I strongly believe that's, to me, that's a beautiful thing about sales. Is just like the intricacies of it. I think a major factor of it is like understanding who you are as a person and playing to your strengths,
That's
you
true.
know?
Always believed in it. Yeah. Another thing that I was thinking about, passing the knowledge and expand the team into more sales people, is like, how can I pass not only like on like passing the knowledge regarding the industry and what already we did with our customers. That's the value. That's the value
Mhm.
I'm providing during the demos, that I believe is going to be challenging for a not non-tech sales guy on how to challenge the prospect
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
way that can actually click. So that's one challenge I need to figure it out before getting there, for sure.
Yeah. It's interesting about the agency because, and I had a feeling you were going to say it wasn't successful, because that's something I learned very early on. I strongly in I would advise against hiring for a position that you haven't done before.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like if you haven't done outbound and you haven't made calls and demos and you just straight away hire someone, now you're kind of just arbitrarily relying on this person or people to create the benchmarks for you, and you're just like trusting, like, hey, this is how many calls I can make, this is how many opportunities, this is how many demos. You're trusting that person. Whereas if you haven't done it yourself, and especially as a founder, I don't think anyone can outsell a founder in
Hmm.
general. It's just like just the confidence, like your knowledge of the product, like how things work. Like I think people can smell and sniff like the passion and the confidence. Like there's so many little things
Yeah.
that a founder has that, let's face it, like an employee or someone you bring on, they don't bring that same level of passion that you have. um, and I say it too in my business, like I don't care how good of a salesperson you are, like no one can outsell me.
That's
There's
true.
no way. But that's my whole point. Like if I haven't, like I need to do it first to validate it, to just understand like what's realistic, what's not. And then once I've kind of done it and know like, you know, benchmarks and criteria, then it's a lot easier to hire someone after the fact.
I was mistakenly believing that because they had a really good success case in our industry with
Yeah.
some sort of competitive hours in another market.
Yeah.
So I was already believing that, probably they already got the structure, the way to do it, so they can just replicate it into another market, adapting to our messaging, and could work. Um, it doesn't work that way.
No.
So
It
no,
never does, because sales, it's there's so much testing and tweaking that's involved. Like there's a lot of nuances from company to company. Even though if you think you're a competing company, there's still like
yeah,
ICP differences. Maybe you're catering to a slightly different segment or pocket of customers, and this just requires like a very deep level of understanding
mm,
that requires a lot of tweaking, a lot of testing. The way I look at it is like, you know, think of like you're on a like a giant boulder, like a big rock, and you're like this little person on top of this giant boulder with a tiny chisel, and like every
mhm,
day you're just like chipping away at this boulder. And the chips represent like tweaks in the process, the messaging, the communication, like the structure of your emails, your opening pitch. Like these are all tweaks. And eventually, with enough tweaks, you eventually get a little crack in the boulder, and that crack represents like some traction. And again, in my experience, it's just very difficult to have like someone external doing those tweaks for you.
100%, 100%. On the other hand, like, you might be experienced this, but as a founder and CEO of a small company, you probably are like a jack of all trades, right? So I thought that if I can't do this right and I'm playing my cards, I need to figure it out as fast as I can, or
Yeah,
try to get knowledge out of this
yeah,
as fast as I can to learn and create the process internally. That
yeah.
was my mistake. Like, for sure, we learned a lot of things. We learned how not to do sales, outbound sales, right? Um, so in a way, it was a lesson that I could
Yeah,
save by learning myself. But somehow I accelerated.
makes sense.
I
Yeah,
got some piece of content, some piece of knowledge that I needed to internalize that, right? Still, I need it because I didn't have it myself. I didn't have the picture, the whole picture on how to do it. So it was a expensive lesson for sure. I wouldn't do it again. Um, but I was thinking, probably it's easier to get this, fancy agency with a lot of case studies in different industry, working worldwide, with something that they could replicate. I was wrong, totally
yeah.
wrong.
Well, that's business. I guess that's the game, right? Any experience, good or bad, you got to take it as a lesson, and you got to like take something away from it. You know, just to propel you forward, right?
Yeah,
Um, Amazing. What are you mentioned like Clay and Lemlist? Are these your like internal tools that you're using on the outbound front?
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Play, it's just amazing, honestly, the way we're working with it to get contacts, companies list. To be honest, I built my old SaaS company list elsewhere because getting like the information, a piece of information of who is doing SaaS is very complicated. So yeah, Clay, it's the enricher. We also use Apollo and different other sources to get the companies. And then we use like Pipedrive, Lemlist, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, uh, like, yeah, that kind of
so
stuff.
is Clay just then like an enricher for the data?
Right now, yes.
Or does it also act as like the this, or I guess you mentioned Pipedrive, like acts as like the CRM where you're actually communicating and
No, no, we have actually it's a very complex scenario, and in between sometimes there is relevance AI, which we feed with a lot of data coming from Clay and Pipedrive, and then like we update the data. There are some agents doing updates on Pipedrive. I wish Pipedrive can have a very improved AI, because right now it's so old, and you
yeah.
still have to do a lot of AI, a lot of manual stuff, which can be automated with AI. But right now we got Clay enriching a lot of data coming from different channel sources.
Hmm.
Also visits, we use Dealfront for that. Um, and it's enriching the data and pushing it towards Pipedrive or back to LinkedIn ads to target that kind of people. Also back to Customerly, because we use
Hmm.
Customerly. Whenever you start using it, there are, by the way, there are some enterprises getting into the trial and then hitting the support or sales to speak with us. So
Yeah.
whenever there is a trial, we enrich it to understand if it's a good deal to reach
Mm.
out to.
Yeah.
And it's getting better in terms of the quality of the deal entering the free trial as well. So we need that, because there are some enterprises getting into the free trials.
Okay. And is the outbound something you're doing like every day and just it's ongoing?
But I'm not doing it personally every day. It's a setup. So I'm
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's set up, it's running
yeah, it's running
every
every
day.
day, and I revise them every couple of weeks. There are
Yeah.
several outbound sequences for different intents you got, or different processes. The thing
How
that I'm struggling the most is the intent, because there is no like a proper intent of when you want to switch or adopt an AI solution for service.
yeah. How many new like contacts are you reaching every day on outbound?
200 a day.
200 a day?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any data on like like how many positive replies you're getting?
LinkedIn is working crazy good in terms of reply. Emails very few, but I would say 15% more or less on average.
15%
15
positive replies.
on all channels,
Wow.
like accounting LinkedIn, because like some straightforward questions are actually the ones that are getting us the best answers. And then of course there is the iteration behind that. So again, it's for us it's a mixed approach, where we shoot a very straightforward question and we start working on that. So LinkedIn again, email is not performing very well. Like
Yeah.
only email is not performing anywhere.
Yeah, I have the similar experience with email. It's I feel like it's a lot of structural um like email was a lot easier like, you know, 12 years ago when I was, you know, growing my first company, but a lot has changed
Oh yeah.
nowadays. That's good though. 15%. That seems very high. Um Amazing. That's great. So when you have a positive reply, obviously you're trying to like get a demo. Is that like the next
The
step?
idea is to try to understand if they want to have an audit of their current situation, and to understand if we are a good fit for each other. And of course, like that's not getting them onto a demo, but like understanding what they're doing, how they're doing it, and what's the kind of challenge they have, because they're coming from another solution. So we need to
Okay.
understand what they're using, how they're using
Yeah.
it, and what kind of results they want to get.
Yeah. So what's like the day-to-day CRM? Like if you have a positive reply, now you're communicating with someone or like phone calling, is that Pipedrive or is that
Spike
how
Drive, yeah. Pipe
okay.
Drive, actually, no. The first layer of communication until you get to a deal point, like when we actually engage onto a meeting, it's everything is on Lemlist, because the
Mhm.
inboxes, the outbound inboxes are merged together in there. So we use Lemlist for the whole, and of course, like LinkedIn messages, because it's faster and easier. But when that becomes a deal, it goes into Pipedrive, and everything else goes into that.
Yeah, makes sense.
We're also using Fireflies, and Fireflies is connected with Relevance and Pipedrive as well.
Yeah, very good. Amazing.
Mm.
No, this is great, man. I do want to be mindful of your time, Luca. But so we're end of 2025, end of 2026. Where do you see Customerly?
Well, I definitely want to eat the 3 million marks.
Nice.
It's going to be challenging, but I believe we can get it. And by the quality of the leads that we're getting, I'm sure we're going to get there. And of course, increasing the team, enlarging the team is going to be another great accomplished 2026.
Amazing. So yeah, that's an ambitious goal. I think you'll get there.
Yeah.
I have a lot of confidence in you and your product, and it seems like you guys are on the right track.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Random question, just on your website now. Are you still in Italy or is it Ireland now?
Ireland. Yeah.
You're in Ireland.
Yeah. Dublin.
So you moved there yourself as well?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
living there since 8 years now, 2007.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Very
Some
good.
people say that I'm downgraded my life, but actually I believe it's an upgrade.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Okay.
yeah, I cannot go back.
No.
Nah.
And is your team all remote as well?
Yeah, all remote.
Yeah.
Yeah. Europe.
Any? Do you guys have do you have teammates in Ireland as well that you see face to face at all, or?
Not yet. We got some of the times we meet all together when we can, because it's getting difficult to have all the team in one place,
Yeah.
spread across Europe. Yeah.
Okay. So just in Europe is where your team is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
only Europe.
Very good. Is that deliberate or is that just
No,
the chips
I
fall?
mean, we tried, first of all, GDPR access to data and everything. It must be in Europe. Second of all, time zones. It's way
Yeah.
much easier to work on almost the same time zone our clients and all the teams is. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
mainly the reasons why.
Yeah. Are most of your clients in Europe or in the US and Canada?
Yeah, most of the clients are in Europe, like 80% in
Okay.
Europe and
Oh,
20%
really?
in America.
Okay. Very good. Okay, Luca. This was a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. I think whoever listened to this got a whole ton of value. I certainly know I did. And yeah, maybe end of next year we'll do this again
I love it.
for the yearly roundup and
Yeah,
see where we land here.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me,
Amazing.
Costa. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure is all mine. Thanks so much, Luca. We'll talk soon and best of luck with everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Take care.